Coming to you live from Austin, Texas. We're here at the University of Texas in downtown Austin. We're here at DevOps Days. I'm sitting here with Michael Cote of Pivotal. Michael, how are you doing today?
Good. You're like that. You're like that guy with red shoes who interviewed us. You remember him? He was slick.
Oh yes, I do. That was at Dell World, Dell
yeah.
World. Yeah, he had got like what 100,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah.
I mean, puts me to shame. And everyone else for that.
So how have you liked the talks here so far, Bart?
I like them. I always do the keynotes rather than.
You mean you give them?
Sometimes I do, but I always ask for them back. So yeah, no, I thought there were some pretty good ones. We had, let's see, we had John Willis, we had Jez Humble, we had Andrew Schaefer, we had Patrick Dubois.
You had
Damon Edwards, yeah. His was definitely more on the wonky technical side.
Yes, tactical, I would say.
Yeah, and I think for folks in operations, they would say, that is good, this isn't pithy and marketing-y. Yes. But for myself, it was
I thought it was helpful. You know my presentations. I always like to be very tactical and pragmatic.
Yes, but you have silly slides.
Yeah, silly slides that are very serious. Isn't that what was Schlotsky's funny name? Serious Sandwich. I
don't remember that. I hate Schlotsky's, but I think one of the
real local booster here.
Exactly, Driscoll Lounge. That's where you want to get your burgers. I think one of the things that was a reoccurring theme were. Things barfing rainbows, right? So
yes.
there was the panda, there was more than one unicorn.
I was pleased that, well, first of all, that John Willis was nice enough to introduce me, but the image he selected for me was a unicorn peeing at a urinal.
Yes.
So that's good. It's, they always remember the urinals.
They do. They do. And for your information,
hey.
So anyway, no, I think this has been a, as I said, they call it the Monsters of DevOps, and that referring to the amazing lineup they've got here, because I think, if you seriously look at everyone who's here, you'd be hard pressed, maybe with the exception of John Alspa, to think of anybody else who is the top of the DevOps heap that we're missing. So.
Yeah, that's true. So what we got the coming tomorrow. What are you going to take away? What's going to be in your trip notes, Bart?
You say for tomorrow or for today?
Or just today. Yeah. What do you think your trip note is going to say?
I think
that it's publicly disclosable. I know you got extensive pages.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think one thing just tactically, I love Twitter feeds. My Twitter feed is a good way of going back and going through my notes, because oftentimes I go and take pictures and tweet, and then as a result, this is the bummer part. You don't really pay as much attention to what's going on, but when you look at it afterwards, you do get a good feeling.
That's true. I think, and maybe y'all's social media command post stuff at the Dell UC do this, but I feel like something like a DevOps Days is where they could really shine as far as figuring out packaging that all up. Because it is true. I remember. I don't know if I do this so much anymore. Well, sometimes I do, but especially when I was an analyst, when I was writing things up, I would heavily rely on the tweet streams, or the Twitter streams of people watching events to go get quotes and pictures and things like that. Because nowadays, there's enough momentum that people are really good about documenting stuff on Twitter, and effectively I remember I actually found some old pages from screenshots from maybe 2009 of Twitter when I was using it, and it's funny, there were all these tech elite people, and they would be going to the store, they were doing the thing, but nowadays.
Well, it's sorry, not to interrupt, but you get that. What were you doing in Facebook 6 years ago that comes up, and that was before they had pictures, sweet. Right? And it was sort of. Barton is, and then you had to put whatever it is. So, but anyway, sorry, it's back to the going.
Anyways, the point being that enough people use Twitter now that to the point of one of my slides, I don't have to try. Other people document stuff, and I can just write the one snarky tweet and rely on other people for stuff. But yeah, it is a really good. That's a good point. It's a good resource for seeing what's going on at conferences. Well, now if they can just monetize that.
I mean, I really remember watching. It was it's not the 5 nations in rugby, it's now the 6 nations, but literally just following the Twitter feed. It wasn't broadcast somewhere on TV where I was able to get it, and you can just watch the Twitter feed and you get the play-by-play that way. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But back to your question about today, I think one of the things is finding how many people here, and it's a heavy ops crowd. I would say it's at least, 80, 90%? I don't know. Is that too much?
No, that's something that's always concerning to me, and my buddy Andrew Schaefer is always telling me that's not always the case. But, at DevOps Days Atlanta a few weeks ago, Josh Long, who also works at Pivotal,
Yep.
he gave like a pure developer talk, and that was nice. But yeah, there could be, I don't know. I feel like I go to a lot of DevOps days, and I don't really see that many developer talks. But I remember there's some microservices thing at least. But that would be nicer to see more developer stuff.
Well, and I wonder if, say, like Josh's talk, is it more of presenting even though maybe it intends it for developers, the way it's taken by operations is much more of an understanding of what they're doing, more of an empathy.
That's kind of, I was trying to encourage him. I shouldn't say encourage. I was trying to brainwash him.
Yes, good.
Which, I mean, he did the right thing, but he should have a talk that does exactly what you're saying, is like, here's developer stuff, and for you DevOpsy people, here's the intention of that and how we're fitting into this and enabling all that kind of stuff. But I think that's kind of asking a lot for someone to come up with.
What else is I heard a lot of sort of snarky comments made against developers, and so I think that shows
as long as it wasn't my talk.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Mr. Silvemo. But yeah, no, it's very heavy ops. But there was a lot of what people were saying was resonating when they talk about the troubles and in fact, I think it was Andrew.
So still problems.
Yes, I think the thing that I think it was Andrew who said it that I thought was great was that operations has been lost at sea for years, and DevOps is the lighthouse.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it wasn't he was quoting somebody else, but I do see it as something to guide and to help the operations side more so than the developers. Now they have to be brought in, but
well, on that note, I have to be brought into a talk I'm giving in about 13 minutes.
Okay, so we've got 13 minutes, 14 minutes.
That's right. So, but I have to use the restroom first. You drink as much coffee as I do. You gotta.
But there is one thing I want to mind. Sorry, I think one thing, because your talk last year here. I love because people always want to put it down.
I'm sorry, it's 7 minutes.
Okay, good. Well, I'll wind up with this. You talked about people always want to put it into something tangible like tools. DevOps is really about culture, but they want to get it down to the tools. And as you said, DevOps used to be Puppet and Chef. Now it's all about Docker, Kubernetes. And I think that's very interesting. A lot of anti-Docker things being said today.
Sure. The number one, there was a good Harlan Ellison, I think, short story about, no, not Harlan Ellison, the other like weird science fiction author, and it's basically whoever's at number one always gets attacked, right? And so that's the way that goes.
Always trying to knock off the leader.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to keep you because I think you've got a talk coming up in about 7 minutes.
So I've heard.
So on that note, thank you very much for joining us. This has been Barton George.
I'm Cote.
And we'll be back tomorrow with some more, actually more interesting people than ourselves.
Yes.
So you'll want to stay tuned for that.